What's up, y'all? Let's jump right into it. Here's my take on Jaron Ennis. Now, I know Jaron Ennis is getting a lot of criticism for his last fight against Karen Chuck. But my take right here is not towards that fight. Jaron Ennis has the LeBron James effect. And what I mean by that is LeBron was getting praised, got put on a high pedestal, got called King James in high school before he did anything in the NBA, right? And this is something Jaron Ennis has, where Philly praised this guy, put him on a high pedestal. He could beat this person, that person, before he even got a fight. And what I mean, like a fight, like a real fight. And he still hasn't got one of them big fights. Now, shout out to Philly, because y'all do this with all sports. But this is boxing. This is where you're not going to just praise a dude, put him on a high pedestal, because there's other guys he has to fight. Yeah, I say Jaron Ennis could beat Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence, all these guys. He's the best pound for pound. And this is mostly Philly people saying this. And what it did was it was attaching Jaron Ennis' name to all these guys. Great marketing. Great way to pitch a guy on the mat. Right? Great way. But listen, start off by saying I take my hat off to Jaron Ennis. Incredible fighter. He could switch, orthodox, southpaw, power in both hands, technical skill fighter, footwork, ring IQ, adaptable, speed, versatile. He has all that. He has all that. We don't give him all the credit. But then here's where the Philly fans and all the Jaron Ennis fans gotta understand. Everything I just named, right? Everything I just named. How great a fighter he was. He still, Jaron Ennis, still hasn't gotten a big fight experience. So now we could say he's doing all this skillful technique, speed. He got all that. He's bringing that into the ring with lack of big fight experience. He fighting. We're not gonna say regular people, regular boxers. We're not gonna disrespect these boxers like that. But if he's the best, we want him to fight the best. And when we see him in the ring with somebody that's not the best, he lacks knockout. He lacks knockouts. So the people that he's in the ring with, not supposed to be in the ring, and he tries his best to get a knockout, to stop it. But he lacks knockouts when it really matters. You hear in his last fight with Karen Chuck Part 2, you hear his pop saying, "Get him out of here in like the fourth, third, fifth round," right? And it went all 12 rounds. So not only he lacked big fight experience, he don't know what to do. He don't have the big names on his resume to argue back with somebody. When we arguing with fans, he don't have no big names. So all the Philly fans is gonna say is how good of a fighter he is, but he lacks the big fight experience. And then when he's in there with somebody that's not as great, C-class fighter, he lacks knockouts. He can't get the opponent out of there. All right. And that leads me to his aggression. He be trying so hard to get the opponent out of there, man. He get frustrated. He get aggressive. And that's where that vulnerability come in. His defense. Yeah, it's cool when we see him matrix and do all this to these C-class fighters, right? But some of these C-class fighters is tagging him. It's tagging him. And when they tag him, we see him stumble, we see him get wobbly, right? And those are for C-class fighters. They in there to win, but they don't have that willpower. So we seeing that his defense is not up to par. So that tells me, and I'm thinking, is it a lack of workout, sparring, training? Because on Instagram, he's saying he's doing 15 rounds. With who? With who? You got to work on your defense, man. You got to work on your defense. Now, granted, I agree with a lot of people. Shout out my son, Greg. I agree with my son, Greg, where Brian Norman Jr. could have took the fight in Philly and proved to us who Jaron Boots Ennis really is. But it had to do something with the money. And you know, when it comes to that business, fans got to stay out of that. But listen, I think he wanted an extra couple of thousands, right? But like my son Greg was saying, and salute to Greg, he definitely was saying like, yo, if you could beat him, right? If you could beat if you could beat this fighter, he's not the best. You're gonna expose him. What's wrong with taking less money? There's more money that you're gonna get, but then there's less money. Now, from Brian Norman Sr. point of view was the Philly cards, because y'all know how like I said, Philly is strong with the sports, man. They rooting for Philly regardless. So I kind of agree and understand where Senior was talking about being in Philly, scorecards, and getting less money. We could do it in Vegas and still get the less money. So I understand what he's talking about, right? But if Brian Norman Jr. would have went in there and did what he had to do, now, CN not saying he don't get a knockout, so it will be a unanimous decision. And it would have been probably more exposure. But I see Jaron Boots Ennis winning. But let's see what Brian Norman Jr. can expose. That's what we're trying to see. That's what we want to see. Right? But like I said, man, that's my take on Jaron Boots Ennis, man. Like I said, I named all the qualities that this guy has, but it's only a few things that he's missing, man. And that's the lack of big fights, the lack of knockouts and finishing fighters. If you that guy, tighten up that defense. And tighten up that defense. And we're not gonna put too much on you with the big fights because people have to get in the ring with you. People are gonna have to get in and want to get in the ring with you. But Philly man is gonna stand with their people for sure. Not gonna lie. But for the most part, Jaron Boots Ennis, I see Jaron Boots Ennis beating most of the people. Jaron Boots Ennis going to 154. I think that's good for him. I think that would be good for him. I see him beating Victor Ortiz, but it will expose his defense because Victor Ortiz is not just a guy that's gonna come in there all. No, he's coming in with technique. He's coming in there to fight, strong chin, power. So that would be a great fight for Jaron Boots Ennis. And on top of that, Jaron Boots Ennis has the length. He has the length too. So man, I want to see Jaron Boots Ennis fighting Brian Norman Jr. If not, go up to 154. Go to 154. That's all I have for y'all. Like I said, that's the LeBron James effect, the Philly effect that Jaron Boots Ennis is going through right now. That's all he's going through. Sooner or later, he'll be getting some big names. Hopefully, I don't see nobody really beating him right now because Terrence Crawford not fighting him. So let me know what y'all think, man, in the comments, man. Am I off on Jaron Boots Ennis, man? Philly fans, don't go too crazy.